Hi, hey, hello. If you're new here, my name is Rain. If you're not new here, welcome back to my maybe lowest quality video yet. We'll see how this goes. I wanted to do a real-time video where I'm like not doing my voiceover after the fact, but I have a very halted speech pattern, so we'll see how well this goes. But I wanted to make a video kind of in tandem with another video I'm working on at the moment. It'll probably be out before this one, on why I don't believe you need to go to art school as somebody who took art classes at a university. So I didn't go to art school. I talk about it a lot in that video. I didn't go to art school, but I went to a local university for a different degree, and I took a lot of art classes there. And with the experience I got, I think that I am completely better off. I think that I'm completely better off as a self-taught artist, and I don't think I actually got much out of most of my courses. So, in relation to that, I wanted to show some of the books that were recommended to me throughout college, and then books that I accumulated on my own, mostly because the books that I was receiving through college just absolutely did not work for me, and what I would recommend, or books that might help you be a self-taught artist from somebody who hated most of their textbooks, but also as somebody who was self-taught before university. So I was self-taught for several years, then went to university not intending to be an art major. I've only been an art major the last year of my 4-year degree, so first 3 years it was just for fun. And kind of how I taught myself and the books that I recommend more, or books that I think can be highly beneficial or supplement college. So this isn't like a you have to buy it kind of thing. This isn't a you have to use it kind of thing, but this is more so me trying to articulate what I recommend if you're struggling with certain concepts and YouTube isn't working. Honestly, you can find everything you need to learn how to draw on YouTube. I am a more book-focused person, and I benefit from having real art to look at. But this book is actually not the first one we're starting with, so that was for the thumbnail. So let's smack that over there. This is my co-host me. We're on a blanket on my floor because my floor is old and not great. So this, my first ever course at university for art, was comics, and this was my textbook. I don't hate it, but I do hate that it's landscape. I know comics are landscape sometimes, but it sucks to put on your shelf. But I don't think this is a bad book. The only really good teacher I've had in college is the teacher of this course. I don't think this is a bad textbook. But I don't think it's excellent. And I don't really know how much it cost used. I know I bought it used, but what I do know is that this book was cheaper. My teacher recommended this to me when I was taking a different course with her, and honestly, I think that this really gives me everything I need that this textbook kind of gave. It definitely helps you with writing plot more, but perspective is one of my biggest struggles as an artist, and I found that this gave me enough examples of comic with perspective, yes, but I get really winded when I talk, and I keep hitting my straw, so we'll see. I might have to do a voiceover for this, but it offers a lot of basic comics where you can kind of understand the concept of comic making and plot, just with the added bonus of this being very perspective centric, which is my personal biggest struggle. I don't think this is a bad book. This is one of the books that I think is actually pretty good, but I like this one more. And I actually did not pay this price for it. I got this way cheaper on Amazon, used. I don't buy books new unless I have to. I just don't really see a point in it. I don't see a point in making a demand for more. I don't see a point in paying full price when I could take it off someone's hands who doesn't want it anymore. So I always prefer to buy used. Then, let's see. I do think that if you really struggle with color theory and you can find this book for cheap, that this is a pretty good way of learning color theory. And this is helpful. I never had a class. One thing I always wanted in college but couldn't get was a color theory exclusive course. I don't understand color theory. It's always something thrown in for 1 week. Every time it's one. And it's like, mix these paints. Good luck, kid. what do you mean mix these? I need to understand the theory for you to make this make sense. Or it's just mixing the basics. It's like, oh, make a color wheel. Red, yellow, blue, make the green, purple, and orange. It's like, I need more than that. That doesn't help. So I don't think this is a bad book. It's helped me a lot. It's a good reference book. I don't think you need it. I think you need to go find really good color theory people on YouTube, honestly. And frankly, I think I've learned color theory the best from just throwing paint at a canvas and figuring it out. And that's coming from someone who hates painting, hasn't done oil painting, but hates acrylic painting. And it's okay with gouache. Okay as in, I've only used it in college, but I want to do it personally and like get experience. So I don't think this is a bad book. Let's keep my feet out of the frame. I don't think this is a bad book. I think this can really help you with color theory if you need the help and you're a visual learner. I know that there are watercolor color theory workbooks where they have like watercolor paper inside of it. I'm talking with my right hand, but you can see my left hand. How kind of me. But they are like, so you can draw directly in the book. And I do think that that's very helpful for watercolor, specifically as someone who doesn't know color theory and doesn't do much with watercolor. But while we're on the topic of workbooks, I can't show this part of the book because it has identifying information. But I actually quite like the Alfonso Dunn. The Alfonso Dunn pen and ink workbook. I haven't actually used it as a workbook. I just kind of have been copying the theories in my sketchbook when I'm needing a little bit of just help or inspiration. I've kind of found that I want to preserve it, but as somebody who really loves working in pen and with ink, this book has been really nice because a lot of my teachers, they kind of teach you this type of stuff in pencil, but ink is just such a different medium that I found that this is a very effective way or a pleasant way of, I guess, approaching it in ink. And this has been better than just about any course I've ever had as far as like talking about texture, line weight, direction, stuff like that. So back to my original video, not my original video, but the other video. I took the introductory art class in my third year of college. I took loads of other art courses, like upper division art courses, before ever actually taking the basics course. My teacher sucked, absolutely awful, taught nothing, was horrible at explaining everything, completely useless. I would have failed that class, a beginner art class, if I didn't have experience with art beforehand and wasn't self-taught. And that's because of this book, because this explained everything that she couldn't. But that was me having a really bad teacher. I don't think you need this book. I think you can find all this stuff online. That's going to be my philosophy for this video. You can find it all online. But if you really like a book, I recommend this one. It's the pen and ink drawing workbook by Alfonso Dunn. Sorry about the identifying information. I really should get rid of that. So, color theory, that's good for basics. If you're into comics, I recommend this one more. This is not a bad book. But there's a lot of stuff I've done in college. And I think the realm of college where I have been failed the absolute most by a teacher is figure drawing. And this was my textbook. Now, is this a horrible textbook? No, but yes. I don't think this is a bad book if you want reference material. However, one of my assignments was the muscles, and let's just say the muscle parts that we had to draw for that course were not well represented in the muscle parts here. And it definitely had a lot of my classmates failing because we didn't understand what she wanted in reference to this book. Is it a bad book? No. But I do like drawing realism, and I do like understanding structural anatomy. However, I actually think that George Bridgman produces slightly better books. Sorry for bumping. I just personally like this constructive anatomy book a lot more. And I feel like it breaks it down in a way that's a lot easier. Also, I don't like drawings of like deformed and really odd children. I'm not a fan. I'm not gonna show it, but they have some like really weird drawings in here, and I just like hated running into them. But I just prefer George Bridgman's book, Constructive Anatomy. I think it might be the art style as well, the cleanness of the paper. I'm not sure. I just find the breaking down of these structures more like this a lot more helpful. And then there's a lot more literature in it to like help you understand what the actual like objective is, the structures, how they work, why you're looking at this when trying to understand it. It actually explains it. When I was trying to like find stuff online, it was very difficult to link up a lot of the drawings. There is information, but it was very hard to link up a lot of the drawings with exactly what I needed. Most of the literature explaining it is just like the references in the beginning of this. I bought this used off of Amazon. I always buy my books used. That's going to be another preach in this video. So yeah, this isn't a bad book. I don't like it. But it was definitely worth the like $5 I paid for it. Then, The Book of 100 Hands, also by George Bridgman. I don't know what this is. We're going to ignore it. Not used, so we just don't think about it. I love this book. Hands are a hard thing for me to draw. And when I just want to study something, pulling this book out and like copying the hand drawings and like getting really fluid with it, doing it in pen, I found it's been a really great way to fill up some sketchbook pages and practice something I'm not good at. Lots of different positions as well. I very much like this book. I think that these are better for anatomy than this one if you want a more classical and realism approach. But that's more personal opinion. However, my actual anatomy holy grail, Taco's books. Is his name actually pronounced Taco? But I apologize now because I'm just going to call him Taco. I bought these two as a set. They came together. This is the one with English translations. I like this book a lot. This is a very helpful way of breaking it down in a more stylistic approach, and I am a bit more of a anime direction. I don't think that's the right way of putting it, but my art style is definitely not quite realism, definitely more in this direction. So yeah, I do find that I just benefit from this more. It definitely helps break it down in ways that I can comprehend better. I don't know what it is about like the more classical stuff, but I just don't feel like it's quite as dumbed down as I need it to be to properly comprehend it. And then I love those books so much that I bought the other one that is not in English at all. And I Google translated. Are they completely correct? Probably not. But it's good enough because this is a huge book and it's a lot harder to flip through than the other ones to find what you're looking for. I'm gonna have to cut so much random audio out of this because I am not feeling great. But yeah, this is a much more comprehensive and I guess step by step more of the time, but also stylistic way of explaining things. And I found that you don't really need English. Let me go back to, because there's kind of a lot of X's and O's to tell you. There's a lot of X's and O's to kind of tell you when something's incorrect and correct. You can't just translate these. I don't really find that I need to do that. I find that this is comprehensive and step-by-step enough that I don't need that personally. But there is information here you could translate if you felt like you needed it. So, I definitely like these more than the George Bridgman book for Constructive Anatomy. The Book of 100 Hands is like a must for me. I love looking at hands. I very much love this art style. It's one of my all-time favorites. Is the kind of sketchy, more vintage scientific book approach. I don't know how to articulate it, but I actually have another book with identifying information on it that I very much enjoy as a scientist for art references. It's a little bit more few and far between, but I really like textbooks like these. Totally out of date. Information is probably completely incorrect, but the gems that you can find as far as illustrations in these are very much indicative of an art style I very much love and like to reference for learning to kind of do line weight, stippling. I very much like the art that you can find in these types of books. And so generally speaking, if I run into something like this at a used bookstore, I flip through it, I see if I like the art that is in there, and I'll generally get it. I got this from my old community college. They were having a massive book sale, and I was able to pick up the entire set of 6 of these, so I'm very happy with that. Here's some more examples of like generally what I enjoy about these books. I do have to crop out like bits of this but yeah. So I do very much like these types of books. Definitely not something you have to get ever. I like to collect them. I find that they're very beneficial for me when I'm not feeling particularly. But let's move on to books that I've purchased, and you could definitely take or leave. I love this professor. It's my only good college art professor. But she very much, when she saw my art style start developing throughout my 3 years of being her student, taking her classes randomly, because I love her, so I just took classes with her, she recommended this book to me, and I very much love it. I do very much love the Imaginative Realism book, also bought you, and I don't think you need it, but I'm very happy I have it. I think the literature they have in here to kind of explain things, the approaches on thumbnails, the way that they break down the compositions and kind of approaching the idea of creating what doesn't exist has been very beneficial for me. Sorry, I got really distracted. It's very easy to. I don't think that as your mother, I really wanted you to be a goblin today. You want to just sit on the books over there? Hopefully he doesn't get in the way too much more. But that's So, I do enjoy that book. It's now Z's podium. No, Z. Hopefully you don't see his butt. It's not as hairy as anyone would like it to be in this household. So, that's an unfortunate fate for all of us. However, Art Fundamental 2nd edition. Do you need this book? Absolutely not. Though, I think like the color theory book, I'm just pulling up all the anatomy pages at random. My new skill. However, as I was going to say, I do think that this is a very good replacement to college, like the beginner courses. If you can buy it, particularly for me, the light and shape and the composition sections were particularly useful. Color is good. The color part is good, but I have that other color book. If you don't want to get that other color book, you might actually really enjoy. Color is one of the hardest parts in drawing for me, so I can just spend a decade flipping to it. But it's one of the hardest parts for me, so I generally tend to accumulate large portions of books with color theory in it. Let's just look at a couple of pages. It definitely goes over a lot of good and valuable information. It might be better depending on how you learn for this one than that other color theory book. I generally prefer this one for studying color theory and kind of painting. And then what I do instead is I color sample from classical paintings that have a similar palette to what I want, and then I use that and then this to inspire and push my color theory into my style. So if you very much like seeing more fine art broken down, this one's probably better. I just color sample a lot of classical paintings because I love art history. I've taken a lot of art history courses, and so I generally find that pulling parts of color from that is very beneficial for me. And do you need this book? No. I actually use this book probably the least out of all of my books. Oh, I found another teacher recommended book. This was also recommended by that art teacher I really like. I do think that I like the Imaginative Realism book more. Stop it. But I do think that this is a very enjoyable book to read, and I do think that it's kind of helpful for breaking down shapes. But I do think that Imaginative Realism is a little bit better. I would buy that one before this one. By the way, we're not going over all of my books in this video. I have too many. I do really like a lot of the color samples and color studies in here, and I do particularly appreciate. I really like books by 3D Total Publishing. I really like them, generally because they're so comfortable providing a lot of different complete step-by-step analyses, and it really helps me to process and comprehend the actual technique utilized. I very much enjoy that, and they have a lot of really good artists in here. It's a great way to find new artists. Sorry, my ring light was great for this until it came to the more glossy books, but it definitely helps with these techniques that you learn in college but never get critiqued on correct. Vanishing points, they tell you to have them, they don't tell you how to use them, and then they get mad at you when you didn't know how to use them. That's my experience with all the teachers that have taught about vanishing points. Very unfortunate. Then you know, I really go into my entire experience in that other video, so I'm not going to complain too much. But we're going to get into my self-indulgent art books where I bought them just because I love the artist in the books, or because I genuinely want to study the techniques being discussed or the techniques of the artist. So first, anime style artist. And I got this book because of, oh, I'm blanking on her name. Lord Gris. Sorry, that took me a second. Or Gris. I really like this book. I originally bought it more so to have it stepped on by Z. I more so bought it originally just to support, but I ended up totally, irrevocably in love with the art steps and process, the tutorials provided. I ended up being just absolutely in love with the way that these artists broke down their steps, broke down their styles, explained the businessing, the marketing, all of that. This book is great. I can't recommend this book enough. If you're interested in this style art, you're interested in this type of art, this industry, maybe becoming an anime style artist. I love advice from industry professionals. It's a lot better than college, where you get advice from people who got their degree in giving you advice. Just gonna be real about it here. Then there are two more books that I have off my shelf that I really love, but don't necessarily think you need. So, the Greek and Roman mythology and the flower and plants books. I think that's Volt. I think they're Volt and not Walt. Y'all, sorry about that. I generally just really like ink drawings. And so having a collection of them is just something I very much enjoy. I treat these books more like art books, but one of my professional possible objectives is botanical illustration. So this one is a bit more something that I study and like try and acquire like good information from. But I generally really love this type of art. I love plants. I very much, and V's in the way, so we're just gonna put this one up while he stands in the way of my pile. I love this book so much. Could I tell you the artist's name? Terada Katsuya. I really can't pronounce people's names. I love this so much that I put why I love it on the cover. Scan sketchbook pages. Well, that's a bad example. Anyway. Oh yeah, here we go. Look at how, like, obviously scanned these are. And how, like, obviously not designed for marketing and turning into a book. I love this. It feels so authentic. It feels so honest. It very much feels like the artist drew to draw and not to create a product. And that's something that just makes this so amazing and so enjoyable to look at. This book was on my wish list for books for like a year before I got it for Christmas one year. And this is honestly just one of my all-time favorite books. I love this artist. I love their style. Be them. Not actually, but I love this art so much. So I love this book. If you can find it used or affordably and you like the art style, I highly recommend it. It truly is one of my all-time favorite books. I'm probably going to make a short about how much I love this book because wow, this is 31 minutes. I'm going to have to cut so much out of this. Finally, just 3 more art books I've purchased that are still on my shelf that I bought because I simply love the artist. Okay. I should have taken these off the shelf beforehand, but summary. Guy who did Persona 5 art. I love this art. I love this artist. This is his art book for 2004 to 2010. So from age 1 to age 7, basically, for my life. But yeah, I love this art. I love this art book. It's definitely a, like, more anime style kind of book to enjoy, but I love it. I highly recommend it if you're interested in his art. He has another one that's from, I believe 2010 to 2017. I believe the books are generally 6 to 5 year gaps. Now, I think my book is actually in here backwards. It's not, but a part of this Kickstarter. I love Lord Gris so much. I'm keeping my dust jacket. I'm gonna just whisper in your ear about how much I love this book. Lord Gris is like my greatest art inspiration. It is seeing her art online that made me want to become an artist. And so generally the excitement I have, also there are tips and tutorials. That was my excitement. There are tips and tutorials. I love this artist. I love how real she is, honest she is. I love her art style. I like how she just goes into her actual process. But Highly recommend. I love this book. I am so happy I think the majority of the prints on my print wall are Lord Gris prints. You know, she recently, like several months ago, she posted a gooey, so bad with names. As per usual, 3D Total Publishing. I love this artist. I love their art. That's literally it. Have you noticed a trend in my self-indulgent art book? Artists that give you motivation blurbs are just great. Best artists. I love the art. That's really all there is to say about it. I also really look up to this artist. I want to be able to create art that evokes feelings as much as this artist does one day. That's like a dream. Really, this is way too long. I'm gonna have to cut a lot out of this. And then finally, because we're going speedy, Eleeza. Okay, I hope I got my mic back in the right place. I got really sick really abruptly, so we're back. I'm not sure my mic's in the same place. I'll try to crop it so that you guys can't tell I ever left. I love Eleeza. I love people who use Procreate without I love Eleeza's work. Y'all just... Anyone who stuck to the end are just here for the fangirling at this point. I will say, I do really appreciate how comfortable and confident these more gesturing and sketches are. I feel like I have a lot of shame in how my gesture drawings look, and so people who can just do this without any embarrassment on how their gestures look and create such beautiful how do you create such beautiful gesture? But yeah, this is a great book. So if it comes to self-indulgent book purchases, Eleeza, goo. For Gris, where did anime style artist Shigenori and Katsuya. We're going with that one. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you know any of these books, like any of these books, feel bad for the dog that really wants to come in my bedroom, please comment down below and like and subscribe. I highly recommend, please comment down below, like and subscribe. I do highly recommend, if you're interested in me talking about why I don't think you need college, checking out that other video. I should be putting it in the card up above this month, because this is going to come out in August, is my kind of going back to college. Not that I was gone, I just had a summer break, but going back to college, my final year, here we are, yay, kind of series. I'm going to go over all of my old art, and then I want to do another video where I do all of my art from year 4. I show it off because I am taking the last few art classes I need for my degree. I actually think I finished my art degree technically at the end of fall. It's my botany degree I'm finishing in the spring, but so generally speaking, there is kind of a lot of stuff happening this month. I'm going to be showing all of my old art from college. That's including the one with the really bad teacher I had. I took it at community college concurrently when I was 14. And that's going to be an experience. That teacher was so bad that I stopped drawing for a year and a half. I might even show the old sketchbooks I had when I was excited to be an artist when I was 14 and was I'm going to take an art class. And then I was I never want to draw again. I'll try to show that in that video. That might already be up. I'm kind of filming these in advance because I'm going to have a lot of editing to do, and also because I'm taking 21 units, so I'm very much going to be filming all of my videos probably a week or two in advance, just to ensure that I don't fail you guys on my schedule. So look forward to those. Look forward to everything that comes out during September when I'm first getting into school. Again, it's going to be a lot of look at the thumbnails I drew for this class today, and a day in the life of a dying student, so that's going to be really fun. And I just somehow made my outro a minute longer than it needed to be, so I might cut this all out. We'll see. If it's still here, I'm sorry, but I got really excited. I'm really excited about the videos I'm making, so there's that. But comment, subscribe if you're interested. I really appreciate it. I definitely have a lot of exciting and fun things that I want to be putting out for you guys, so I really appreciate anyone who wants to stick around for the journey. I would love to know what your thoughts on these books are, or actually, even more importantly, do you have any books that you recommend more than these, particularly for the educational side? Because these are just self-indulgent. I love these artists. But if you have artists like these that you want to recommend, put it down below. I'll blame you for my bad budgeting decisions, though. So just keep that in mind when you comment. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, whatever, wherever you are. And I really appreciate you sitting all the way through to the end. Bye!